Now I'm going to be working on the shutters, and I'm using the Dollar Tree foam board for the shutters. You can definitely use wood if you prefer, but I'm going to make these look like wood, and they're thicker, and I think they're just going to work better. So these shutters on the lower windows are 1 inch by 2 inches, and I will put all of the measurements down in the description box below. It's going to be our right lower window and our left lower window. And then the window, the bay window on top, is going to be these, and these measure 1/2 inch wide by 1 7/8 tall. So, and then there's the awning, and the awning is 3 inches wide and 1 inch deep, and I've cut an angle into it. And then I have these two sides, which are these part of the awning here, which I'm going to have to fix to see how that works. We'll do that later, but the awning is going to be out of foam board as well. And then I'm going to cover it in the roof tile. Then we have the window boxes where the flowers are, and what I'm making those out of is the foam board. Again, I'm doubling up 2 pieces of foam board, and these little window boxes are going to be 1 7/8 inches wide and 1/2 inch tall, and you'll need 2 for each box. So you'll need a total of 6 pieces, 1 for this window, and this window. Re-looking at the picture of the French country cottage, it looks like it has some wood pieces like this. So I'm just going to hand draw these in. They're not going to be straight because I want it to mimic real wood. And I'm going to do this a lot like I did the bricks. So I'm just cutting into it halfway, I'm not going all the way down. And I'm cutting a pattern of 3 on these bigger shutters here. Don't have to be even. Again, it's supposed to mimic wood, so we don't want it to be too perfect. So after doing that, then I go in with a pointy object. This is a bamboo skewer. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go ahead and make our wood pattern, our grain pattern in here. Random grain pattern. And after I have the pattern drawn in to look like wood, I'm going to give it a firm press to kind of make it a little bit uneven so it's not perfectly flat. And I'm going to come on the sides, and I'm also going to be putting that grain kind of on the side as well and on the top. The bottom probably won't show, but we'll do it anyway. And then that looks like a wood plank. And when you paint that with the Craft Smart Burnt Umber from Michael's Crafts, it looks like a real wood shutter. And then we're going to add another piece to this part. I'll show you that later. Another piece of foam board. Basically, this is what we're doing for this part. While the shutters are drying, I'm going to turn my attention to the front door. So remember in the, I think it was first or second video where we cut out the door and the windows, and I suggested to set these aside for a template. It's time for the template now. We're not going to need the ones for the windows because the shutters were easy enough to do, so I didn't need a template for those. But here's the template, the cutout piece from the door. And so I'm placing this on a piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to do it the full original size, and I'm going to cut this out. Now we are going to make this much smaller, but first of all, we're just going to cut it out, and I'm going to take a look at it and see what I think of the size. So here is the original size of the door, but it's going to be a lot smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this up to the door here. Looks like 1 3/4. So I'm going to try that. My dimensions ended up to be this for the door: 1 5/8 wide by 2 7/8 tall. And yours may be different. Your door may be different because you're going to customize the size of your door to your house. The test to see if the door is properly fitting is to stick it through the hole like this. You should be able to get it through there, and you should be able to move it this way as well. And that will give you enough room to open and close the door. I've removed the paper off both sides, and we're going to use this to create that wood effect again like we did on the shutters, but we need to make this door a little bit stronger, so we're going to add another piece to it. I am now cutting a second piece. You want to cut inside the lines of the second piece, otherwise it'll be too large. Moving the paper on both sides. The next thing I'm going to do is cut the wood pattern into the door. Not going too deep. Next thing I'm going to do is press with my fingers. All right, the wood pieces are mostly dry and they came out really super good. I'm going to start gluing these on. The first thing I'm going to glue on is the flower box, which goes at the base of the window, and I'm going to put it right up underneath the window sill right here. I'm going to glue it right in onto the center part. I'm going to glue the shutters to the side here, and I want to cover up this seam here, so I'm going to glue them just over each one. I'm making one more piece. This is a 1/4 of an inch piece. And this one we're going to cut in half, and we're going to put it on the shutters here and here, and then again down here on these 2 shutters as well. So I'm cutting this piece in half. Now I'm going to do the door awning, and I'm using the Dollar Tree foam board. And I've got this piece cut out, which is 3 inches wide and 1 inch deep with angles cut into it. And then I'm taking my knife and I'm coming in here and I'm cutting an angle right here and here. Just gonna shave off some of that foam board. So that there's an angle.